Hello guys, welcome back to my sewing corner. Welcome to my channel. If you are new here, you're very much welcome. Thank you for stopping by, and do not forget to subscribe before leaving and give this video a like. Okay, make sure you click on the like button. So today's tutorial, without wasting time, is just going to be showing us how to cut and sew a 3-layered long dress. Okay, so it's going to be like a layered dress, and this is a very rough sketch of what it looks like. Okay, I'm going to be using this pattern paper to draft the bodies. I'm going to draft the skirts on my fabric directly. Okay, they are both lycra material, and you can see this looks like a jean material, but it's just a mimic of jean. It's lycra and it's very light, so it's nothing near jean at all. It's very light, you can see, and it's stretchy. That's why I'm using it, because I don't want to use a material that is not stretchy for this project. I'm not saying you cannot use a material that does not stretch for the project. You can use any material you have, but make sure it is not too heavy. Okay, so this is the one. Actually, I recommend using material that has stretch for plus size ladies. Okay, so if you're a plus size lady like me, make sure you go for a material that has stretch. That way you'll be comfortable in your dress. Okay, so here I have it. So you can see it's very light, and I'm going to be using this one for the bodies and this one for the skirts. Okay, so I have 2 yards of this material and just 1 yard for this one. Okay, so first let's talk about the measurements you will need for the project. So I'm going to display the measurements you will need, and after displaying it, I'll come back and explain how we got about the measurements. Okay, so guys, like you've already seen, you need your long gown length. Okay, your full length. If you want to make it a long gown, then you need your shoulder to underbust. For plus size women, please take your shoulder to underbust, but for a medium size or a small size person, please just take your shoulder to waist. Okay, then you will just subtract your shoulder to length, that's your half length, from your full gown length. Okay, that will give you the skirt length. So guys, there are actually 2 ways to which you can do the skirt part. Okay, so I'm going to be explaining that now before we go into the practical part. So now, from your half length, okay, to wherever you want your skirt to be, for this project you're going to be drafting it for a long skirt. Okay, so for a long gown. Okay, so you're going to divide your skirt length in that method 1. Okay, you're going to divide your skirt length into 3. That is for method 1. Now that means you're going to have equal length for both A, B, and C. Okay, now another method is to first take your waist to hips, okay, or below the hips. So if you don't want to stay on your hip line, okay, then whatever you have taken, subtract it from the whole length and then divide whatever is left into 2, so that you can share it for the last 2 layers. Now for me, I'm going to be working with that second one, okay, because I don't want it to stay around my hips. So it's optional. It's either you divide your skirt length into 3 and then share it evenly, or you take your waist to hips and then whatever you have left, you divide it and share it for the remaining 2 layers. Now by the time whenever you're cutting your first layer, if you're using my own method, the one I'm going to be using, that means your skirt, the first layer is going to get to your hip circumference, so you need your hip circumference to be able to cut out this first layer. So we're going to use your hip circumference plus any allowance you want to give it. Now I'm working with a stretchy material, so I might not give it so much allowance. So for me now, I'm going to just cut like 50 or 52 inches for the width of the first layer. So by the time I gather it, I'm going to gather the top part to give me what's my half length, my waist circumference. I hope you understand, so that the base of the first layer would take my hip circumference. Okay, so now when you cut the second layer, you cut the second layer to have allowance in such a way that you can gather and get back what you have as the hip circumference for the first layer, because you're going to be gathering on it. Okay, you're going to be sewing the gathers on it, okay. So what you're going to do now, okay, is to cut this first one using your hip circumference if you're using my method. But if you're not using my method, wherever your the first layer will get to, take that round circumference and use it to cut your first layer. So the extra you have at the upper part, you're going to gather it. Okay, so that's it. So the same thing for the third layer too. So whatever you have at the base of the second layer will be what you gather the third layer to be. Okay, so that means whatever allowance you want to give to it, you give it accordingly. Okay, so let's now do the mathematics. For me now, this is 52 already. By the time I gather it, I will be left with what, 40 40 inches for the upper part. That means I'm going to gather with 12 inches out of it. Okay, so that means I'm going to be gathering 12 inches at the upper part. Then the lower part of this first layer will be left with 52 inches. Now, I'm not going to cut just 2 inches for the second one because I also want to gather it. So that means I can add, depends on the fabric you have, you can decide to just add like 6 inches to it or 8 as you have, the fabric you have. But I don't want it to be too much, okay? So because once the hip is out of the issue, you don't have any problem. So now I'm just going to add 4 inches to it. So it will give me what, 56 inches. So I'm going to cut 56 inches for the second layer. Then I'll be left, that means by the time I start gathering, I'll gather this upper part, because that's the part you're going to gather actually. I'm going to gather to get what, 52 inches, so that I can sew it on this one. You know, already this first layer is carrying 52. Okay, so that means you gather this 56 inches to get what, the 52 back. So that means the gathering will not be too much. Okay, I hope you understand. Now for this third one, whatever you have here, you're going to have 56 here. That's just it, because you're not going to be gathering the base of a second layer. So you cannot add whatever allowance you want to add to this one. Okay, so I'm just going to add 4 as well, so that will give me what, 60 in total. So that means I'm going to cut 60 inches for the width of the third layer. I'm going to gather just 4 inches out of it, so that I'll be left with 56, and I can sew it on the second layer. I hope you understand that mathematics. Okay guys, this is what I have. You can see this is the first layer here, the second layer, and the third layer. Can you see the difference in the width? Okay, they are not the same. Let me use my ruler to point it. Okay, so you can see that this is the third layer, this is the second layer, and this is the first layer. So the first layer is longer than the other 2 layers, and that's because I want my skirts to get to my hips and also pass it, because I don't want to lay on my hips or my bum. So that is why I have it that way. I'm going to pick the first one. I'll go over to my overlock machine and I'm going to just weave the upper part. Guys, I've gone ahead and I've weaved the top part of all the layers of the skirts. Okay, so right now I'm just going to go over to the sewing machine and make a loose stitch on about ½ inch after the weaved parts. Okay, so on all the layers, I'm just going to make a loose stitch across the breadth, okay, the width of across the width of each panel. Okay, as you can see, I'll do the same thing for that one as well, and this first one too. Okay, so I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Once you're done with the loose stitch, you're going to have 2 tails of threads like this. Okay, so you can start pulling from this side or from this side, but because it's long, you might end up pulling from both sides. Okay, so it depends on which one is convenient for you. So but I'm going to start with this one. So I'm just going to check the one that will pull easily. Sometimes it's the lower one, sometimes it's the opposite. So this one is just the lower one. So you pull, and as you pull, you adjust the gathers. Okay, so remember we're just going to gather to get 40 inches from 52 inches. The width of this fabric now is 52 inches because of the base, which is where the hips will lie. Okay, so I'm going to gather to get what, 40 inches. So let me not waste your time. Once I'm done, I'll show you. Just do this and then make sure you adjust it all around. Okay, all around the width of this first layer. Okay, this is what I have. So it's on fold. This is the center, and let me show you what the measurement is. Let me put it this way so that we'll see it. Okay, so like I said, we're going to gather it, and I've gathered it. So I have what, 20 inches. Because it's on fold, I have 40 inches. Okay, now you come to the base. Okay, whatever you have, we're gonna have 52. Remember, we cut out 52 and gathered together in 40. So exactly here I have 26. Let me show you. So from that angle to this angle, you can see 26 goes on fold. This is the center, so that's 52. So my second layer, okay, I have it here. Right now, so for the second layer, I'm not going to gather it, and that's because, you know, it's around the hips, and I just don't want it to look anyhow. You know, this is already a stretchy material, so if you're not working with a stretchy material, you can just decide to gather it, okay, so that I can give you allowance and you can walk easily. Okay, this is the second layer. So this is what it looks like. I just weaved the top part Okay, so whatever I have here, you measure it for the second layer. If you have to gather yours, so you're going to measure what you have here and add the allowance for the gathers. For the third layer, now I'm going to work with the second layer. Since I didn't gather it, both the top and the base is going to be what, 52 inches. It's also the same length with the second layer. Okay, here I cut 60 inches and I'm going to gather it to get what, 52 inches, which is the base of the second layer. So once I'm done adjusting it, I'm going to show you what it looks like. Guys, so here I have my first layer. Okay, this is the second layer. Like I said, I won't be gathering the second layer. And here I have my third layer, which I have gathered as well. So now what we're going to do next is to go over to the sewing machine so that we can join it together. Okay, we're going to start from the first one. Okay, so we're going to be joining the first and the second layer together. Make sure you align it properly. This is the way you're going to be sewing. So this is the first one and this is the second one. You're going to place the first one on it like this. So you're going to place it on 1/2 inch. Oh, sorry. You're going to place it on 1/2 inch. Okay, so you leave 1/2 inch on this one and also 1/2 inch here, and then you sew on it. If you say I gathered this one, you're just going to sew on that stitch, on that loose stitch that you gathered together. Okay, so you're just going to sew it on it until you get to the other side. I'll come also, once I'm done with that one, I'll lay this base, okay, for the second layer, and also place my third layer on it like so. Okay, so for this one it's easier because I gathered it. I'm going to sew on the gathered stitch, so I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, hey guys, now I'm done joining this the layers together and our skirt is ready, as you can see. So this is the first layer, as you can see, is the longest one. Okay, from this point to this point, and from here to here, second layer. And I didn't gather it like I said, but I gathered the third layer, as you can see. So this is the skirt. Okay, so now we're going to cut the bodies, okay, so that we can join it and then her gown will be ready. Okay, like I said, I'll be using this fabric. I'm not going to be putting any dart, just going to draft a dartless bodies. Okay, but you can check my channel for tutorial on how to draft a basic body, so it's just that you won't be imputing that in this one. Okay, as you can see right now, I've placed my dartless bodice pattern, half bodice pattern. So I'm just, this for the front, and for the one for the back, this is the one for the back. Okay, so I'm just going to place it and cut it. So guys, for the sleeve as well, I have a video on how to draft a basic sleeve. If you have not seen that video, please check it out. I drafted this in that video, so it might be in the description box. Please check it out. So I'm just going to cut it out accordingly, and I might just increase the length depending on the fabric I have. Okay, so that's it for the sleeve. Okay guys, now this is my front bodies. You've cut the front bodies, the back bodies, and the sleeve. Okay, now I cut facing for the front and back bodies because we're not going to line it right now. I'll just go over to the machine, sew it round, join the do the same thing for the back, and then join the shoulder and then turn it over so I can place a top stitch over it and join my sleeve, and then I'll come back and show you how to insert the skirt. All right guys, so now my bodice is ready. As you can see, I've inserted the sleeves to it. Okay, so then I have this part open. So if you want to insert your zip, please go ahead and insert it, but because this material is very stretchy, I am not going to do that. So both sides of my bodies are sewn, as you can see. So I only have the back open, okay, where the zip is meant to sit. So what I'm going to do is to grab my skirt. Okay, this is the skirt. Okay, so we're going to be sewing on the bodies. Okay, so like we did for the other sides, the layers of the skirt, so we're going to place it on 1/2 inch like this. Okay, so place the 1/2 inch you used to gather, you gathered on. You're going to place it on 1/2 inch of this fabric like this, and then you sew on it. Okay, so when you're sewing on this, you can make sure that it's very close to the weaved part so that it will be laid properly. Okay, so as you can see, I've placed the side, the center back of the bodies and the center of the skirt, laying it like this. Then I'll go ahead and sew it all around, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, so guys, as you can see, I've joined the bodies to the skirt. And please, I want you to note that by the time you're stitching, make sure you lock your stitches very well. In fact, if possible, make double stitches, okay, so that I can hold it very well. And also, please note that if you're following my method of not gathering the second layer, make sure that you are working with a stretchy fabric. Okay, so that's it with this, guys. We've come to the end of this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you like what you've seen, please click on the like button and please share with your friends. And If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.